There's no one that has done more for animals, cats and dogs, in this town than Doc Henderson. I mean, I don't even know where I don't even know who even would be a close second.
Back in the mid to late 80s, I wound up for about 3 years the old city shelter there on Mojave, doing all the veterinary services for them for about 3 years, and which meant that I had to euthanize every dog and cat that was euthanized back then, and it kind of opened my eyes, and I made myself a pledge that I would do whatever it took to try to help solve the problem.
Dr. David Henderson is recognized for his lifetime advocacy of spay and neuter as a way to solve the animal overpopulation problem in the valley. Starting out with a $20,000 gift from a client who wanted the money to go toward helping animals, he has spent much of his private practice providing free or low-cost spay and neuter services for ferals and to rescue groups. The Las Vegas Valley Humane Society was one of those groups.
When the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society was formed in 1991, our goal was to address the pet overpopulation problem and the birth of animals whose only potential was a short life on the street, filled with disease and starvation. I had been exposed to the TNR program as a result of living in Europe, and was very impressed with what was being done in England to help the homeless animals. Dr. Henderson very quickly embraced the idea, and although there was quite a bit of opposition by some people in the community, he continued to spay and neuter all of the homeless animals we brought to him. He literally has brought this community out of the dark ages. I would personally like to thank Dr. Henderson for all he has done over the years. He has been a true friend. He deserves a gold star.
I've taken in cats that have had some severe injuries. I brought rushing down to Sunrise, and Doc is always more than willing to help us out and take them in even after hours. Recently, this summer, we went out on a rescue of a kitten named Jimmy that was trapped on a freeway off-ramp. He was wedged between a pipe and the off-ramp. Don't know how he got there, but he also had a fractured leg. It was about midnight when we got him down and took him home and rushed him first thing in the morning to Doc. It was on a Friday when Doc had a real busy schedule of surgeries for his clients already, but his staff stayed after hours and they performed the surgery. Jimmy's left leg was amputated, and he's doing very well in his foster home and is available for adoption. Doc goes above and beyond for the Las Vegas Valley Humane Society. He opens his practice to us, and we can come in at any time with animals, and he never turns us away.
People always ask me how I met Dr. Henderson. Well, it's not quite that interesting of a story. We're actually doing the feral cat clinic over at Lead, and they kind of didn't want us there anymore because we had so many cats and it started to smell. So Doc Henderson offered to let us use his clinic. Thus, probably the biggest mistake of his whole entire life. But that being said, we had the clinic. I remember it was a Sunday. I remember the day and the time that I met him very, 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 very well. What happened was he came out of the bathroom and he said, he kind of walked like this, so I don't know what that was all going on, but he did say, I have food poisoning and I'm very, very sick. And I go, oh, great. And then Denise from SOS came up and said, we have 164 cats, which was a record. And Doc Henderson was sick, and I go, oh boy. And Doc went, oh, it's okay, we'll do it, we'll get through it. And sure enough, that day, history was made. We did 164 that day, and then since then, I think we did his clinic probably there for like 5 or 6 years. In fact, he was so great of a guy that he let us use his clinic on Wednesdays and Fridays. In fact, it became half our clinic and half his clinic. In fact, he was starting to get on our nerves, but that's okay. We let him stay for, what, I guess, the 6 years or 5 years that he let us use his clinic, or he used our clinic. Anyway, we got to that point. But that's what happened with the feral cat clinic, and because of Doc Henderson, we've probably done, just at the feral cat clinic, we've probably done close to 17 or 18,000 spay and neuters. We've probably done over 32,000 feral cats since we all started, and that's because of Judy and Doc. Those two have worked together well, and we've been doing gazillions of ferals.
Today we're doing the feral cat clinic. We have a fresh supply of new volunteers. We'll get rid of them really quick.
I met Dr. Henderson, so many years ago, probably, I don't know, 26 years ago. Over the years, Dr. Henderson had worked with us on the Animal Advisory Committee, which was really notable because it helped us get better sheltering, helped us get better conditions for the animals, and also kept us online to spay and neuter. He always was there with spay and neuter as a message. He believed that sterilization is the means of stopping the euthanasia. People talk, talk, talk. I've heard him talk, but he walked the walk. He got in there, did weekend sterilizations, did sterilizations for people when they couldn't afford it. But David was good about making sure that he understood the politics. He may not always like it, but understanding and knowing that we had to go hand in hand, politics, make this policy work, and he was tireless in that. And he was there when he was needed. He would come to city council, county commission meetings, anywhere else that he needed to speak to bring that message of how important spay and neuter is. And not only that, to bring the message and tell from a perspective of a veterinarian and a caring person how this would stop that euthanasia.
The deleterious effects from early spay and neuter are so minor, and they're so outweighed by the humane effort, in saving lives that it's not even an issue.
Anytime that you're going to work on a law and the policy change is rigid as regulated sterilization, you have to have everybody under the tent. Animal control, humane societies, veterinarians, and others that cared about animals were all under the tent. David was there, and he was an instrumental player in putting together the veterinary side of that. He was always there for the animal, and that is genuine.
In 2009, the Red Cross dedicated the Hero Award for Animals to Dr. David Henderson. Since the mid-1980s, Dr. Henderson estimates that he has done more than 75,000 spay and neuters himself. He continues to be a tireless advocate for spay and neuter of both owned cats and dogs and feral cats.
It's called the Feral Cat Clinic, or the Stray Cat Clinic, and it's free to the public, and it is all about TNR, trap, neuter, return. Where we go out into the general public and we provide them with the traps and instructions on how to trap the stray cats, and then they bring them in. We just did one 2 days ago, last Sunday, and we did 309 cats in one day.
He's dedicated, he's committed, he's knowledgeable, and he's passionate, and he speaks for those who have no voice and who can't speak for themselves. To me, that's living the life of a hero every day.
He certainly is our hero. I suspect that most people aren't aware that he has a sense of humor and is a great dancer.
Guess you can say a whole bunch of cats will get fixed today. My vet, my vet, talking about my vet, my vet. Dip, 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 that's all, folks.